Severe weather once again. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued again for Williamson County now. Let me get a tweet sent out. Let everybody know we're here. All right. Looks like a new tweet's ready to go. So, let me get out of this. You can see the polygon here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for Williamson County. Many of you have already experienced the storm, and it was pretty gnarly. It was a pretty impressive storm as it came through the Nashville area. Most of that has pushed to the south now as far as the strong gusty winds. We had a wind gust over in Smyrna, which you see over here just to our east. If you're new here, Smyrna is just over in Rutherford County to our east. Smyrna Airport had a 60-mile-per-hour gust there, which is just above severe criteria. There just a little bit ago. So it looks like still the strong winds are continuing, and those could be down in Franklin, in Nolensville, in Triune, and on down toward Page High School, Arno, Bethesda, and up toward all the way up toward Natchez Trace Bridge. So some hail possible with it as well. The main threat appears to be the 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, which some of you up in the Nashville area could have experienced earlier today. But they decided to reissue this severe warning for the line down here in Williamson County. Seems to be picking up speed, the Weather Service says, and that could enhance the wind threat with it as it moves down to the southeast. And as you hear, the lightning and thunder still going here where I am up in Oak Hill in Davidson County. Actually had a strike here not long ago where in my office I have some of the fire sprinkler equipment and some stuff in my office, irrigation system and things like that behind my desk. And I actually heard with a lightning strike, actually heard a spark come in that room. And so there's a lot of underground pipes and stuff that come into that room. So it's charged out there. A lot of lightning. You do not want to be in this outdoors. You want to be inside as it comes through for sure. So I can attest to the lightning threat with this one as well. All right, let's go over and look at the velocities on this storm as it comes through. And yeah, it looks like you see here these oranges down toward Triune. So these are going to be where we could have those 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts right there around Triune. Things have calmed down a little bit in Nolensville perhaps, but still they're southeast of Franklin. Could have some 59, 60 mile-per-hour winds there, especially in the Triune area. Let's go ahead and let's zoom down on this a little bit. And you can see this is Highway 96 here just north of 840. So right there around the some of the new subdivisions they're putting in there between Arrington and Triune on Highway 96, or some call it Murfreesboro Road there south of Nolensville. So that looks to be where some of the strongest wind is now, right around the new red light there, Tractor Supply there in Triune. And they're around 840. 65-mile-per-hour winds being indicated there. Right there along, let's see where exactly that is. That's going to be right there around Patton Road. Couldn't remember the name of that one. Patton Road, Patterson Road, Cox Road, right there around Arrington Vineyards. Could be some very strong 65-mile-per-hour winds there. This is Cox Road. You got the railroad tracks there that run right along McDaniel Road and Cox Road. So that's where some of the strongest winds are there. Wouldn't be surprised to see some trees down, some power lines down somewhere around the 840 Highway 96 area there in eastern Williamson County as these storms pull through. So what you're looking at here is velocity data from the Weather Service radar in Old Hickory, and it's shooting down there toward to Williamson County, and we're picking up these oranges, and that's what this severe thunderstorm warning was issued for. Was for some of these strong wind gusts that are potentially coming through southeastern Williamson County around 840. So Paytonsville, Page High School, Arrington, Triune, Arno, right there around the 31A, 41A split where the airsoft area and Bonnie's Barnyard and the gas station there around the split, Bellenfont Road, Arno College Grove Road, those places like that. So that's where the strongest winds are right now. Let's zoom back out to the regular radar picture as a new scan comes in. Rain is lightening up there in Brentwood and Nashville, and especially up in the northern part of Davidson County. Rains are starting to come down in intensity there. but picking up, though, down in southeastern and southern Williamson County. This is a good soaker for us. It's come down pretty fast, but it's a pretty good soaker, and some needed rain. So Fairview, you got a little bit of rain out of this, and southwestern Williamson County looks to be getting the least amount of rain out of this as it comes through down toward Greenbrier, Smarden, areas like that in far southwestern Williamson County. Lightning's the big story for this. This has been a very efficient lightning producer. That has really, it's really been something. A lot of lightning has come through. I'm looking at the lightning data off screen, and really a lot of lightning out there, and it's been pretty efficient for sure. Hang on 1 second. All right. Okay. Let me check your questions here. How are we looking downtown for those just leaving the draft? Downtown's looking better. Just watch out for the lightning. Still some lightning strikes up there, mostly in southern Davidson County. Not so much in downtown. There still have been some strikes, though, in downtown in the last little bit. But that'll be hopefully lightening up here in a little bit. But really the rain is getting lighter. Hopefully those moving out of downtown here in a little bit. Can't confirm. Triune getting hit right now. Yeah. Christy says pouring in West Haven. A lot of big winds there in West Haven. Yeah, let's kind of zoom on down here. Let's take a look at Williamson County again. Those of you down there can sort of get an idea of what's going on there in Williamson County. Take a look at the radar picture. This is the traditional radar view where you can see the intensity of the rain. And let's go over to the velocity view again. See how that's looking for us. Yeah, still seeing some strong winds down there between Arno, right there around the Grove, the subdivision down there just south of 840. The Grove is in definitely a place that could get some strong gusty winds if you're down that way. So Udaly, Covington Road, Paytonsville, Arno, Arno itself, Arno College Grove. A lot of the roads out here that have two names. Heirloom Boulevard, Udaly, Covington, I think we talked about that. That's where this is. McDaniel, Cox, Arrington Vineyards is over here, and Triune's up here. Here's Nolensville Road or Horton Highway, and here's the split. So there's your gas station, Bonnie's Barnyard, the Airsoft place, there's Bellenfont, and then you go into Marshall County there. Rutherford County as you go down toward Eagleville. So the brightest colors there are going to be where the strongest winds are, according to radar. So according to radar, the strongest winds are going to be right here. Let's see here if we can get a reading on that. Go back to velocities here. Yeah, could be. Radar reading 70 miles per hour there, 73. So now we're looking pretty high up in the storm. But no doubt could have some gusty winds that could cause some damage there, especially in southeastern Williamson County. Let's back out just a little bit. This warning's in effect for another 13 minutes, and we'll see how it evolves with that. But it looks like the strongest winds now in southeastern Williamson County. So if you know anybody outside down there, hopefully they've gotten inside because of the lightning and thunder coming their way down in southeastern Williamson County. Hopefully they have. But if they haven't, tell them to get inside. If you know anybody down in Chapel Hill, Henry Horton, maybe golfing at Henry Horton or camping down there at Henry Horton State Park, just give them a holler. This thing's coming their direction there in Marshall County as well. All right, we'd love to have your reports. So if you could send us reports using hashtag TSpotter, that would be great. and we will get that to the Weather Service. Any kind of hail report, strong gusty winds that have caused damage, so damaging winds, please send that to us using hashtag TSpotter. Send us a picture, your location, and we'll get that over to the Weather Service. Andy, yes, after the storms come through, if we look back up to the north of us, we do have some other storms coming through southern Kentucky. They don't look to be nearly as strong right now, but yes, we do have some storms coming in through Kentucky. We could have some other weather come through later on. We'll have to see how that evolves after a while. So, Handy, I will see if we can get the radar going here. Honestly, I'm on a computer I don't normally use for this stuff, and I've got a lot running right now. So if I loop this and I lose you guys, it's going to be your fault, okay? Just kidding. So let me loop this, see if it'll loop through here and let y'all see where it's going. It looks like this computer will handle it. Good deal. All right. So I'm not at home where I have all of the good stuff. Looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning just came out. So this is going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning for Williamson County, southern Williamson County, and that's going to be until 2:15 p.m., and that's going to be for the southwestern part of Williamson County. All right, new severe thunderstorm warning in effect now for southern Williamson County. Let me pause this so you can see where that is. All right, so here's our new warning in effect for another 25 minutes. And that's a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect for, let's see, that's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, maybe some small hail there in Spring Hill, Greenbrier, Smarten, Thompson Station. It's going to cover all the way over to these storms that were already warned over in the Bethesda and Arno area. You're included in it as well. So Bethesda, Arno, the I-65 840 junction, Keystone, Indy High School, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, Burwood, Boston, and Greenbrier. You guys are included in this new severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for about 25 minutes there. So 2 severe thunderstorm warnings now. Basically, everybody east of Fairview is and south of, let's call it maybe Mallory Lane. So south of Mallory Lane and east of Fairview, basically all you guys are under a severe thunderstorm warning now for about another 25 minutes. Let me get this in, let's see here. There we go. Hey, David.
What's up?
Well, we just got an alert that the Weather Service is canceling the heat advisory for
today.
For Davidson and Williamson. So we don't have to worry about the heat advisory anymore for today. However, we do have the excessive heat warning for tomorrow that does continue, I think, right?
Yeah, it should
yes,
still be active.
Yes. That's right. Yeah. I'm sorry, I had to look through like 4 alerts to find it. There it is. Okay, yeah, so excessive heat warning tomorrow. Barring any rain or storms tomorrow, which there is a chance we could see something similar to this that we're getting today. Could see it tomorrow. It's so tough to predict, guys. These storms come in and sort of ride the edge of a ridge of high pressure. Not going to get in the weeds about that, but just to say that sometimes these storms can really dive down out of Kentucky here in the summertime and give us some rain that we knew there was a chance of, but ends up barreling through here. And so that can take out the heat threat. But barring any storms or rain tomorrow, it's going to get hot tomorrow. So excessive heat warning continues for tomorrow. David, we got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings now. One for southwestern Williamson County for that line as it continues pushing to the south. Hopefully we can get this thing out of here, but honestly, I'm kind of enjoying the rain.
Yeah, TBNA was lit up with 60-plus mile an hour straight line winds right before they issue the warning, which is TBNA is that radar that's near Nolensville. And the main radar up at Old Hickory was showing the same thing, so much so that I thought that the radio wasn't, I need to do the de-alias toggling on there, which is sometimes a little trick with the radar. Sometimes it over exaggerates. It's like, whoa, that's a pretty big wind that had come through. And so they had to go ahead and warn it for straight line winds. As it came over me, I wasn't that impressed, but I think what they were saying is there are pockets, meaning not everybody along the line is going to get the same strong winds. There are some spots that are just going to have a little bit stronger winds than others. So as you're looking there, as Andrews put that in motion. So right near Independence High School, it's to Spring Hill, down Columbia Avenue and 65 there. To the east of there, kind of over by Allisona, Bethesda, out in that areas where I saw the hottest temperatures, meaning the strongest winds. But those winds are pretty soon going to be a Murray County, Lewisburg, that is going to be for them and push out. And we're going to continue to get thunderstorms. And the other thing I was going to say, Andrew, is I was looking at the model data for tomorrow and wondering if we were going to get another round of this. And as you were saying, there's that ring of high pressure that the storms are just kind of sliding down. I remember back in the day, a long time ago, I used to draw a slide on the radar, and the storms would slide down the slide. That's happening here. That's what this pattern is. And the latest data has us maybe getting clipped sometime late tomorrow, which would be too late to nullify our excessive heat concerns. But it looks like, at least in the latest HRRR model data, it goes probably from Clarksville, extending all the way into like Morristown, Knoxville area, a big old line of storms there. So we may get another round of this. And if we do, I'd rather have it this time of day so we could avoid that heat, because that heat's going to be rough. But otherwise, this looks no tornado concerns. I know a couple people were concerned about that. I saw in our replies because there was a tornado warning earlier up in Kentucky a couple of hours ago. There's not been any indication of any kind of rotation or anything that would make us concerned about tornado anywhere in Tennessee. And the reason we say that is because the atmosphere just isn't really set up for it here. So it would make sense that we wouldn't see rotation, and we haven't seen any signs. So if you're worried about that, I wouldn't be. My main concern is tree falls on you or on your car, or you just get stuck outside in the rain and get hit by lightning. So
yeah, and the winds with the storms today, we have had these scattered reports of wind damage. In fact, we just got a report there on Twitter just a little bit ago via T-Spotter. Use hashtag T-Spotter. That's how we get reports in. Large tree with lines down in Leapers Fork. That's on Highway 46, right across the street from the Leapers Fork Church of Christ. They're in right there in Leapers Fork. So imagine there's probably some travel issues there with that. So careful as you go through that area. There in Leapers Fork. These trees coming down on these roads, guys. This is no joke, and we've had injuries, we've had fatalities from this exact thing with severe thunderstorm warnings. So this is the type of day where you have to be extra careful, and your life and the lives of others can change in an instant. Traveling down roads with lots of trees, so be very, very careful driving when these gusty winds are coming through with these severe thunderstorm warnings. Looks like they've issued a new severe thunderstorm warning now, and that's going to go further to the south. That's going to go all the way down into Bedford, Marshall, Rutherford. So they're continuing these severe thunderstorm warnings as these storms push to the southeast, and hopefully the worst of it will be out of our area here soon, but not yet. Let's see here what else we got. David,
Andrew, I
go
think
ahead.
these winds are right along the county line. From what I can tell, I don't think radar's got a good picture of them over by Spring Hill or points west of there. Looks like down near from between Eagleville and Spring Hill is where the strongest winds are.
Yeah, let me switch over to velocities here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try the non-funky version of the velocities. Let's see here.
There is a funky version.
Yeah, there's a funky version. not very helpful. Flat Creek, Comstock Road, Bethesda, out in the rural areas of southeastern Williamson County. That's the area there where it looks like the strongest winds are now. All the way over to Spring Hill. I would not be surprised, due to the angle of the radar, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there are strong winds from Boston, Greenbrier, Boston, over to Thompson Station, right there along 840 and down to the south in Spring Hill. Wouldn't be surprised at all if there's, in fact, the wind damage that we just heard about was over here in Leapers Fork.
Yeah, I would expect to have that there, Andrew.
Yeah,
Not
so I expect
surprised
these really, just imagine, just pretend that there's yellow colors here in the velocities. I think there's strong winds here from Greenbrier, Boston, over toward Indy High School, Thompson Station, pushing down into Spring Hill. So this is where the radar, you see where it's lit up here, this is where the radar can read well and can see well what's going on, gets good data back as far as the wind velocities go. So that's why you see it lit up. So I think there are strong winds from Eagleville over toward Rockvale and Rutherford County, and then pushing a good ways across through this warning in far southern Williamson County as well. And so be especially careful if you or someone you know is driving from Thompson Station, Spring Hill, Boston, over toward Arno, Bethesda, and the Horton Highway, Eagleville split there at south of Triune.
Looks like I'm reading it, so if you go further up the storm, the wind speeds get higher, which is what we would expect, but there's some of them at 2,500 feet are at 70 plus miles an hour, and as you go lower to the surface, get into the 60s. So I would expect near or at 60 mile an hour winds to be crossing the Williamson County, Murray County line right now. And they're not just in one spot, like on the leading edge of the storm. The winds of the storm, the winds are actually that strong for about 20 or 30 minutes in various scattered spots along the line. We see we've got one tree fell on a house in Grassland as this line comes through. So that's usually the concern we have, is the trees. The trees are the first things to go. And when they fall on things, bad things happen. So let's just be careful. Yeah. A couple of tweets already. And damage continues to pour into the Weather Service. It's trees down in Williamson County. So if you're in Spring Hill, let's make sure we're not sitting next to that big oak tree watching the storm come in your window.
Yeah.
And if we're driving, maybe it's not the best idea to be driving out there, because you just never know when those trees are coming down. So,
Lauren, thanks for your report in Bethesda. I would expect it to be very windy there, and let us know if you have any damage there in Bethesda. David, do we need to look at those? Elizabeth asked here about the storms up in Kentucky that are following this one. They don't look as strong to me, but I don't know much about them at the moment. I haven't looked at them, but
you talking about the ones that are up there now?
Yeah, the ones that are up there now. So they look
I don't
weaker.
know the answer to that question. Let me go ahead and study that for a second.
Okay, yeah, I know they've got a couple of flash flood warnings now. They've had a lot of rain up there in southern Kentucky, but David's going to check on those storms up there. They don't look as strong to me. They don't have severe thunderstorm warnings with them at all. They look like right now just a bunch of rain, and that's coming in through Robertson County, and will be coming into Davidson before too long. Let's put that in motion. Yeah, you can see there, these are the storms she's talking about coming through Kentucky now, following a similar path as the ones before, coming into northern Davidson County. But again, these are not severe warned. We don't have any reason to believe right now that these are severe in any shape, form, or fashion. However, they have had some strong, gusty winds.
It looks like HPX is still a problem. Yeah. So it looks like HPX got taken offline, Andrew. So
yeah, I think that happened in this first round.
Yeah, it's still not up. Don't know what happened to it. So yeah, I agree with you. It looks to me like these are just running off a crazy Ivan boundary, frankly, those storms up in Kentucky. So to answer your question, was it Elizabeth who asked Elizabeth? I don't think that, I'm not concerned about those. I do think there'll be some rain in there. And I'm seeing a little bit of lightning in there. And let me hop over to satellite and take a look. See if I can't imagine that it'd be an issue, but let's make sure.
Severe thunderstorm warning continues for southern Williamson County, basically from Highway 96. Let's just call it Highway 96 to the south. And that's going to be including most of 840 through Williamson County. That's going to be Bethesda. That's going to be Arno. That's going to be the Flat Creek and Comstock Road areas and areas around and east of Spring Hill. Thompson Station, Boston, and the Pinewood Road area. Now, of course, it's not raining there right now, at least not very hard, but you still could get some gusty winds there west of the rain that's falling now around I-65. So severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for about another 11 minutes. The lightning's been no joke, guys. It's really been something. As I said earlier, my office is in Oak Hill in southern Davidson County, and I have a closet behind my desk, and it houses stuff for the facility, sprinkler system, irrigation system, stuff like that. So there's a lot of underground pipes coming in, and we had a really close strike, and no joke, I heard a spark in that closet, and there's equipment to help mitigate that, but man, it's no joke. It can really damage some stuff. So I would imagine there's probably something we need to fix here at our place after that. But that's the kind of stuff that can happen with these close strikes, man. It'll mess up electronic stuff. So we'll have to probably a lot of that today. I have a report in Franklin here. Large limbs down on the deck or on a deck in downtown Franklin. Looks like these winds were, at least as far as the reports go, David, it looks like we had an area of strong winds from Grassland down through downtown Franklin out to Leapers Fork. And that was out there on Highway 46. And had trees down in most of those locations from Grassland, Franklin over to Leapers Fork.
Yeah, my final answer on those Kentucky storms is the ones that are up on the radar now, that are up there. They don't look all that bad, and I think they're going to come into our atmosphere. It's been worked over pretty good, so I would not expect any severe stuff this afternoon or early this evening. We are watching another system right behind ours that's up in Illinois right now that looks really impressive on water vapor imagery. That actually looks way more potent than ours is right now, and
look at all these wind reports, David.
Yeah, I mean that makes a ton of sense. The tops of those storms are really cold, and it's doing quite a number on middle of central Illinois in terms of wind damage, and we're just now getting the 18Z run of the HRRR come in here, and it looks like it's got that thing coming through Kentucky again and getting here after dark, but mostly going east of us. Let me zoom in a little bit on there so I can see this a little better.
So what a lot of these storms do, so this thing looks like
just misses us to the east. Yeah.
So it looks like this thing, is aimed sort of toward the east. Well, what they do is they'll sort of take a turn and dive more south and southeast as they ride around a ridge of high pressure. And I can't draw this for you, but they can sort of just sort of imagine kind of a track like this. Now we're not saying that these storms will take that exact path, but what we're saying is there's some high pressure down here, and it's rotating clockwise, and these storms can sort of take that southeasterly path there and come our direction. So that's what we were watching for. That's what David's referring to, watching those storms up there, and they look to miss us to the east. But that's how these storms up in Indiana, Illinois can look like they're heading east, but then all of a sudden they sort of take this dive down to the southeast. They're riding around that area of high pressure, around the edge of it. Now, how do I get rid of that? Awful. There it is. All right.
Trying to share my screen to illustrate your point, Andrew.
There it is.
See, that's the HRRR model that's running 18 hours away, and you can see the way it's looping around this high pressure. What I just did a forecast sounding. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Um,
Blink of
it's
an
just
eye.
running
Pulls the
around
forecast.
here like this. So you can see all this convection that's just running in a circle. And inside the middle of this is where that heat wave is. So if you're just on the outside of this heat wave, which is where we are, we're getting this rain. If you're in the middle of it, it's bad times. Extreme heat and humidity is occurring. They call this, I think, the ring of fire. This little ring here. And so the pattern for us today and tomorrow is these storms to develop up here in Iowa, Nebraska, and come down through Illinois and then slide down our way. And the question is whether or not the ring sets up over Nashville, Williamson County, or whether it goes a little bit east. And according to this, what you're seeing at the end of this loop is tomorrow morning. And it looks like the storms, literally go a county away. So it puts us just inside the ring, not on the outside, which would put the stuff on us. So anyway, that's the nerding out for today. As to the why this is happening. Let's see. Now we got to figure out how to stop sharing my screen. This always.
I gotcha. I can
There we
handle
go.
that.
Thanks.
Looks like the strongest winds here now are, according to radar, are over Marshall County and Bedford County now, likely pushing out of Williamson County, especially since the rain, the reflectivity now is pushing mostly south of 840. So we're going to call it good for Davidson County. You guys have endured a lot today. A lot of rain and storms up there in Davidson County. It looks like more coming in, but again, that's not severe. Just some general thunderstorms coming in from the north into Davidson County now, but out of the woods there. And then Williamson County, really the threat only remains for south of 840 and east of 65 is where the threat remains. Really from Franklin to the north, you're good to go. Nolensville, Fairview, good to go there. And our warning in effect for just another 5 minutes or so. But we've had damage, and we've had trees, power lines down. Just looking at some outage reports a little bit earlier, power was out at my house for about 45 minutes. And so it's been, been a day where we've had a lot of trees and power lines down. I'm going to check the outage reports here and just see what we're dealing with here. NES looking at about 4,700 customers out, 3 or 4 large outages there in NES's area, which, that's not great if you're one of those people, but we've definitely had storms where we've had, 100,000 customers out. So luckily it was not a day of that. Middle Tennessee Electric, looks like Williamson County, about 600 customers out right now. That's not quite 1%, less than 1% of the customers out there in Williamson County. So that's, we're in pretty good shape unless you're one of those people that doesn't have power. Doesn't look like any huge widespread concerns.
Yeah, it's concerns if it's you.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. If it's you, it stinks. But luckily the numbers are relatively low.
And it's like you get hit, lightning strikes nearby, and you're like, well, your storm wasn't severe. Well, it felt severe to me. Freaking lightning hit right next to me. Yeah. That said, I am getting a little bit of one positive strike in this storm that's kind of fallen apart north of Davidson County. Looks like there's just near Greenbrier. There's a lightning strike there. So as this other storm kind of slides in from Nashville that Andrew's showing there, just south of Greenbrier there, Andrew, there was a positive cloud ground lightning strike.
Yeah.
In fact, there's 2 of them now. So I don't think we're all clear yet. If you're in Nashville, especially if you're over by Madison or Goodlettsville, I still think there's a lightning danger there. Not that you want to get out in the mud anyway, but yeah, it looks like the worst of it is now south of Wilco and south of us, and I wouldn't expect anything else during the daylight hours. We'll have to watch that complex out in Illinois, but again, the models think that moves east of us tonight, and we'll have to see if that actually is what happens.
Well, let's see here about any updates from the Weather Service. They're issuing a few more warnings here. That's going to be to our south. and that's going to be to replace the warning that is about to expire for Williamson. That's only going to be for Bedford, Marshall, and Murray, so we will be excluded from that, which makes sense as this thing moves away. Well, David, I think we've covered the warning. I think we've covered sort of the forecast for tonight. Could have some more storms come in. We've covered tomorrow. Certainly more information on the blog, and we'll be updating that as we need to as well, and covering this on Twitter. But I think in fact, they just expired the warning. That's going to disappear here in just a second. So the warning is gone for Williamson. So I think we've about covered it all here, David. We'll jump back over to Twitter, cover it there, and we'll get back on here if we need to, but we don't think that'll be imminent. We think that'll be sometime later, if at all. So, all right, well, y'all have a good afternoon, and we'll see you over on Twitter.